Did you forget something, Mr. McCarthy?
It seems someone or something has sabotaged my car, miss. So I will be staying the night.
Oh, how terrible. Luckily, one of the rooms is available. Here's the key. It's up the stairs and the last door on the right.
Thank you.
Oh, and Mr. McCarthy, be careful.
Careful?
I hear things at night. In the walls.
What kinds of things?
Scratching.
Well, I always have my revolver, miss. I'm sure I'll be okay. I've had it for 6 years. I've fired it once. Thank you for your help. A bottle of olive oil. Some extra virgin olive oil. A set of carving knives. I take the largest of the blades. It's sharp and the harsh contrast of the reflection hurts my eyes. I don't like what I see. An ordinary kitchen sink. Nothing can wash away the sins that taint me. A carpenter's vice. I'm not really the carpenter type. It's a tenon saw. I don't need a saw. A drainage grate, presumably in case of flooding. The bar was a simple affair. An acrid smell of stale cigarette smoke and spilt champagne from years long since past hung over my head like a cloud. A young woman stood at the bar, drink in hand. She watched me intently as a predator watches its prey. This was Victoria. Victoria, a highly attractive woman in a long black dress. She regarded me with a slight smile. While it would be interesting to see how she would react, I think it's a bad idea.
Well, good evening. Fresh blood is always welcome.
Victoria, I presume.
Victoria Renton.
Rick McCarthy.
Ah, we have someone famous among us.
Infamous, perhaps.
Well, I always preferred infamy. Better the devil, you know.
Do you mind if I ask you some questions?
Please do.
What are you doing here?
I'm just passing through, really.
Mr. Grosvenor said you were a permanent resident.
Permanent is a little strong. I lingered here because I like the scenery, and this house is simply fascinating.
This house?
Yes. It seems there is quite a history here, though I haven't really involved myself too much. I'm just here for the ever-enriching sense of ennui, I suppose. And the vodka, of course.
Mr. Grosvenor mentioned that you may have seen wolves on the estate.
If that's what he wishes to call them.
You disagree?
Well, it was dark, but the way they moved was...
Her eyes moved ever so slightly to the floor.
frightening.
What's your opinion of Sarah?
She seems nice enough. We haven't spoken a great deal, though. I get the impression she's intimidated by me.
She cracked a wicked grin.
Shy girls are always more fun. Wouldn't you agree?
What's your opinion of Michael?
I think he's terribly afraid of something. He seems to be terribly on edge most of the time. Especially if there are a lot of guests in the house.
Any idea why that might be?
He's not particularly forthcoming with regards to his personal life. He spends the majority of his time by the fire, lamenting the slow loss of his family.
His family?
The Grosvenor family is something of a tragedy, Mr. McCarthy. The vast majority of them died before the age of 35. Some died before adulthood. Michael is the last alive, and the youngest of his generation. He even outlived his niece, and I don't think he's ever recovered from that.
That's all I wanted to know.
Any time. Can I perhaps interest you in a nightcap back at my room?
She looked me straight in the eye, waiting to read my reaction. Thank you for the offer, miss, but I think I'll decline.
Carpe noctem, Mr. McCarthy.
Seize the night.
For we may not see another.
Her words chilled me to the bone. Another night, perhaps.
Well, if you change your mind, you know where to find me.
She's drinking a thick red liquid. A Bloody Mary, perhaps. It's a rather nice oil painting. Van Gogh, I think. Almost certainly a copy. It's Victoria's room, I presume. It's locked. I don't know who this room belongs to. It's Sarah's room. I would guess that leads to the west wing of the house, but I can't be sure. It's locked. My room was a simple affair, and yet I couldn't help but feel that death ran down the walls like ever-encroaching floodwater. Empty. Looks like someone took all the books. It overlooks the gardens at the back of the house. An immaculate bed. I'll try and get some sleep. I found it difficult to sleep. My mind swam with questions. Who slashed my tires, and why do they want to keep me here? As I began to drift off to sleep, I was jerked back to reality by the sound of screaming. I jumped to my feet and grabbed my revolver.